Well, we've mentioned it before, but I think that's where a lot of people, I think, especially now, people want the nicest, best right away, right? As soon as they can. They get a better job, and instead of going to buy a nice house and putting money into things like that, they end up buying, they have a $1,500 car payment because they bought a $100,000 truck or something like that. And so I think that's where the affordability and the inability to get into homes a lot of times lies in a lot of those payments that we have that we probably shouldn't have.
Well, and I look back when you say that, when I was younger, I remember looking at a lot of my friends or there was like the newer builds, and I would say that was like mid to late 90s is what I'm talking, right? And there were some bigger homes. Like I just remember seeing these homes. I'm like, man, they're big. And now I look at those same homes compared to other homes or even my home now, and it's like the same size or much smaller than what's being built. And so like what's being normalized is going and getting the biggest, nicest right now instead of being, conservative and what you can afford. Just because you can buy it doesn't mean that you can pay for it. Just because you can buy it doesn't mean that it's financially smart to do so.
Yeah.
And so I like what you're saying.
Grew up in a 1,300 square foot house, and now people are like, even first time home buyers like, whoa, that's small.
But when you did it,
a family house.
But when you did it and you lived there, there might have been a few homes that you're like, oh man, I wish we, the Joneses, we get to, live with them. But you never once really thought anything of it.
No.
And so
it's what you knew. It's what you live with. It's how you grew up. So it didn't make a difference. And that's when you look back at all the homes from, I think, up to 1980s. I think 1980s is when the mini mansion started, basically, where the houses start getting just bigger. You look at all their homes, they only had one bathroom for the whole house, or just a half, and then one that everybody share, right? Now, everybody has their own, like the bigger houses, it's just, you got a lot more bathrooms, a lot more space, more garage, more storage. The needs have changed. How long is it going to go?
And with bigger garage, you got to fill it.
Yeah, you got to fill it. You got to have the toys for it. And
crap, right? Like it's just junk that you end up acquiring over time that, I'm just moving, right? And you just moved too, Carlos, that after moving, I have so many totes of stuff that is still sitting in the garage even right now. And we've moved in August. Like, maybe I should just purge and get this out. But the whole reason that I moved into a bigger house was because I had all this stuff that I needed to put into the bigger house. But now I want to get rid of it. And so now I'm literally in my mind thinking on our next house, because I'm going to play that capital gains game where every 2 years we're going to move into a new house because we build houses, right? And so every 2 years we're going to move into something else. And so I'm like, well, maybe I'll keep it in the tote, but if it's in the tote, do I really need it? And so now, do I really need a 6,000 square foot house? No, I don't. I can get by with a 1,300 square foot one main level house and actually be happier because it's not as much stress as far as cleaning. It's not as much stress as far as
yard work,
where I'm putting it and I literally was talking to my wife about this just the other day. I was like, I almost want to just buy something with some land and put it back in the trees. And it's just going to be this little shanty that we're going to go live in because the kids are getting ready to be gone, and we don't need all of this space.
You're going to
need
a smaller house.
Of this crap, so I'm going to want a smaller house now.
Well,
it's kind of crazy perspective.
We had my friend Russell Slack on an episode, and he said something that I've probably repeated every other podcast episode.
It's a good one though, so it's worth it.
But when he hit it, like the biggest light bulb went off, and it's once you taste a luxury, it becomes a necessity.
That's very well said.
And so once you have 2 bathrooms, it's going to be really hard to get my wife to go back to one. Once you have each kid has a bedroom, it's going to be really. And so it's the normalcy that even if that's a friggin' word, but normality that people are even that they're coming into this and that it's just I don't think anybody's trying to compete. I think it's more of just what they know and what they like and what they feel is the normal.
Well, and it's marketing. People are telling you every day that you need something else, right?
Yeah.
But I think I'm trying to practice practicality, to be redundant. we're talking about the totes on the move. We purged a lot of stuff. We got rid of so much stuff. And one of the things that we decided to get rid of, it's our RV, our camp trailer. You hunt, so you probably use it way more than I do. We camp 3-4 times a year, but actually this last year, we didn't use it once. And I'm like, yeah, it's paid for. It's sitting there. I'm not using it. It's just rotting in the sun. So I'm like, what? I'm going to sell it. Because if I'm going to go camping 2-3 times a year, I'll just rent one. I don't have to maintain it. I don't have to make sure the battery's running. But you gotta have one, right? So it's like, no, like it really hit me. I was like, no, I'm getting rid of this thing. It's thousands of dollars sitting there, depreciating, because that's probably like the worst depreciating asset, right? But it's that practicality. So we're trying to practice that. It's like get rid of the things that we don't need.
That's awesome.
And I do think when you purge, you feel a lot better. I mean, we're doing a remodel on our home. There was a leak or whatever, so it's like a little reno job that we're doing, and purging, you just feel a lot better, and we can keep it real estate related, but I think that's in every aspect of your life. When you purge, feelings or people or things away from you, and you simplify. We complicate our lives so very much to the point of where you're more trying to keep up with tasks or keep up with these things than what you're actually enjoying them. You know what I mean? And so when you only use a camper 5 times a year, you're going to find yourself doing more maintenance and doing more things on it than what you're actually using it, which then you get rid of that, you simplify, you go use another camper, go rent one that's going to be newer, maybe even the same or nicer than what you had, but it's not yours. You take it back, you move on from it.
Yeah, you're done. When you're done using it, you return it. And
here 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago now, I really started liking going down to Costa Rica.
Right.
And so we were looking at houses down there. And what's it going to take to buy a house and to lease it out, and all too well what that takes.
Right.
And so I was going through all of that. Same with our camper. So we just bought one like 3 years ago as well. But I also bought some land up in Island Park to build a cabin on. 'Cause I'm like, the 3 things that I really want to be is in the woods, on the beach, and then the rest of the time at our regular house, right? Where it's a home base.
Right.
And so I'm thinking through all of these things, but then I only go to Costa Rica maybe once or twice a year.
Right.
So why don't I just say, hey, Morgan, can I lease your place? Because it's awesome. Right?
Right.
But the camper side of things, when I go hunt, sometimes I stay 40 days in the woods, and it's like my second home. I just live in that thing, and I'm back and forth up and hunting.
But that's what I'm saying. It's practical for you because you really utilize it as it should be more often. To me, it was like couple times a year, 3 times a year to Island Park or here and there. And
I think, like you said, bringing that full circle with the real estate side of things, what's practical for the buyers when they're trying to buy it? Like, how do you tap into that in their mind? And maybe it's just that conversation, what are your motivations?
Well, so I'll tell this little story. Hopefully it takes no longer than 20 seconds. But when I was younger, I wanted to buy a home in St. George, and it was just me. I wasn't even married, and I was dating my wife, but she lived up here, and I wanted a big, nice home. And so we went and we looked at homes, and it was my dad that was like, "What are you doing? Like, what are you? Why do you need a 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom house or this many square feet?" And we talked through it, and really, when it comes down to it, I got a niece and a nephew, and they got 2 little kids too, and they're looking, and I want to explain to them, you don't need to hit the home run right now, because the one thing my dad said on that thing is, I was like, well, my payment's going to be this, and he's like, yeah, and then you got to heat and cool the damn thing, and so it's. If it's twice as much as what you need, your power is going to be twice as much. The maintenance is going to be twice as much. Everything's just twice as much. It sucks, but being an adult is just the way that it is, right? Yeah. So it is important, the feasibility, to just make sure that you are, the smaller, the nicer, like the simplified that you can make it it's just that much better. And when you said that about Costa Rica, like it's awesome, but there is, and I do zero like hands-on work down there. I don't fix anything, but it's just always on my mind. It's just that layer that's always on my mind. And so, you worry about things at your own home, and I have that always on my mind of this is and this and this and this has got to be done. And so I agree with that. Like sometimes if you're going to use it a lot, which we're kind of in that thing too, is like we can only get down there so much because of our kids and costs and things like that. Like, I mean, sometimes it makes more sense to just have something up here and invest into things up here and then take that return and then go travel wherever you want, much like a camper, rent it, leave it, tip whoever, and then you're gone. And then you don't even have to think about it till the next time you travel. And it's like a whole, I mean, it's just a smaller scale that just grows into a bigger scale. And when it gets into a bigger scale, it just definitely weighs on you a lot more.
And I think the business side of that too. Duck Donuts is all, even though I've got it now to where it's running and the GM is there and he's awesome,
Right.
it's always right in the back of my mind, like, what's happening there today?
Right.
I should probably run over there and check because I just spent the last 6 weeks for 16 hours every day making sure that it's good. And
Did
then
they clean this or lock this or
is the door locked?
right?
Yeah.
Who's stealing what, right? How many donuts walked out the door that it was the cashier's boyfriend and she's like, that's good. You can just take it.
That's your daughter, right?
Yeah. But same thing. It's just when you said that, it's just that itch in the back of your mind that you're like, oh, I'm thinking about that all the time.
But I was just going to say, I don't think none of these things are bad things, right? Like campers, side-by-sides, the toys and all those things, nicer things, they're not bad. I think it's just people a lot of times don't take that evaluation. You just got to realize if I'm getting this, what am I giving up?
Right.
And if you think that through and it's worth it because that's something you absolutely love, go for it, right? But if it's something that you're taking away and you don't even realize you're taking away this other aspect that you could be having in your life because of this, then you just got to evaluate that, right? And I think so many people don't take that step back and kind of look and see, okay, this is absolutely something I love and it's going to be worth it and I'm going to go for it. Or, hey, I do like it, but is it worth giving up this and this for it?
So when you say that, like boats, like you loved your boat, right?
Yeah.
And there's others that love boats too, and you can compare it to other things. So
I love friends with boats.
exactly. And so Jason, people have boats like Jason, and I'm like, man, that looks like fun. I think I'm going to have a boat, but we don't think about how much am I going to really use it? Yeah. And maybe I should go rent one and use Jason's boat and figure it out of how often I'm really going to go. And then you get yourself into it just because you're comparing it. But I've also used that same thing of when I'm like, a boat is the dumbest, liability that you can buy. And I've had people tell me, like, we use our boat every day in the summer. It's the best family time we've ever had. My kids don't, have their screens in front of them. And so, like, to your point.
You get to know their friends. You get to know, there's a lot of benefits.
You always have a great time.
Yeah.
It doesn't run now.
And so I don't think, think that we run that full thing. You know what I mean? And there's this fantasy that we're going to have it all the time and we're going to use it all the time. But it's like, you got to be practical with it. Like I run a job. My wife is, and I are business partners. Like, when are we really going to be able to leave? And so then if we do that, are we committing to this? Like Costa Rica, we love to travel, but now we just travel there because like we can't travel there and here because then you're gone all the time. Right. Yeah. And so like, when you say yes, you're saying no to a lot of other things. So when you say yes to a camper, you're like, well, we're not going to road trip here or here or here or here because we're always going to be using this camper.
It's probably a good exercise for everything, right? Everything you're saying yes to. What are you saying no to inadvertently?
Priorities. I think everybody has a different priority. Like, and just figure out why your priorities are and just focus on those and then just kind of get rid of the stuff that is not a priority, that it's more of an unnecessary luxury or a liability. Like in my case was the camper, right? Yeah. But to be completely transparent, I bought a car this year. And so that is a luxury, right? And it's a second car, right?
It's a sweet
but
car,
guess what? In the summer, I drive it all the time. every day.
Right.
So it's just but I get to enjoy it, right?
But you also understand where that comes from. You understand where the payment comes from. You understand that because you said yes to this, you're saying no
to something else.
Yeah. Whether it's investing a little extra into something else that, you know what I mean? Like you just understand everything about
then
that.
In order to get one thing, you give something else away. Yeah, I know, 100%. But everybody has different things that are important. Like for you is the boat, or it might be something else for you, the house in Costa Rica, which I think is awesome. So there's little things, but it
sounds so simple, right?
It sounds simple, but I'll give you the dumbest, most simple example. And that's when it really hit me that people have different priorities. So it's like whenever somebody says that, like, how could you spend so much in golf clubs or whatever? In my case, mountain bikes. That's my stupid hobby, right? Yeah. And people's like, why would you pay that for a bike? And I'm like, I like it. Or you should see what I put it through. It's got to hold up, right? But when I had the furniture store, guy shows up, the nicest at the time, probably like a F350 King Ranch, like loaded, lifted with everything. It's like, I'm looking for a king size mattress. I'm like, all right. So I'm like, to show him a really nice mattress. He's like, no, I don't want to spend that much. Okay, we'll go down the middle. No, I don't want to spend that much. How much you want to spend? And at the time, I think it was like $300. I'm like, for a king mattress? And I was like, well, this is probably what you can get. It was a mattress this thick. And he's like, are you kidding me? And I was just like, well, you're going to sleep on this every single night, dude. Like, you might as well. He's like, I don't care about that. Like, I don't care. I just need something to lay on. And so that's his priority. He didn't care. He's like, I'm not worried about that. Right. But he probably spent a crazy amount of money. That truck at the time was probably hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? But he wanted a $300 mattress. And in my mind, I was like, it just doesn't compute. And then it just hit me. It's like, everybody thinks differently. Everybody has things that they're important to them. Yeah. And you just kind of have to let it be. It's just finding what's important to you and making sure that, that you have those things, I guess. And
so when you prioritize, swinging this back to your businesses, what is something that you feel like you have to prioritize every single day or weekly, or it just doesn't work, or you know what I mean, or it's your business doesn't move on from whatever it is that you have to prioritize?
Answering the phone, showing up, really, like getting up every day and putting in the work, showing up, because I mean, but then you got to prioritize time off too, because otherwise you get burned out.
Right.
But you got to grind, you got to show up, and you got to put in the work. I think generalizing, right? If you want me to go down to one thing, it's just really routine. Like having a routine or having a system or a set of rules that you follow. Because if you're just going willy-nilly about it and not, then things don't fall in place.
The rules thing, that's a whole nother conversation, but I'm glad you said that. That was on my coaching call that I had yesterday, and my coach, Dustin Runyon, gave me a whole list of rules that he has, and some of them are kind of ridiculous, but some of them are actually, he's like, this is just my rules. This is just what I do. It's who I am. And he's like, it's easier to withhold your standard of when you have rules. And so how do you come up with your rules, or where did you come up with your rules? Or, is there different things that, reasons why you have them? Or
I think you got to find the rules that work for you without giving yourself too much slack. For example, there's people that like to get up really early in the morning, and it's all about getting up super early and getting things done. That doesn't work for me. It doesn't. I mean, I wake up around 7:00 every day. I don't wake up earlier than that. But I make it work. But I'm committed that during those hours that I'm going to be awake, I'm going to be as productive as I can. So, I guess set of rules would be to be consistent, to answer the phone, to follow up with my clients, all those things. But and then sticking to those rules, whatever those rules set up. But find the set of rules that work for you, and you can pick up some rules that you see from other people. I'm sure I picked up some rules from you, things that I've learned along the way. And I'll be like, this fits within what I want to do. This fits, and put the other stuff, like I want to be in shape and everything, but you won't see me doing a cold plunge. Forget that. I have no interest on that.
So when you say the rules back to that, what's interesting is a lot of folks will say, watch this and just like the rules thing, you're successful enough, you've been through enough that you know there's just this standard that you have to have for you to be successful. Mm-hmm. There's just a few things that you know that without them, things fall or that you're not successful, and then they become your rules.
Yeah. I guess
and
you
that's
could say
where
that, yeah.
I feel like folks maybe miss that is because they wake up every morning whenever and then they
Just gonna
don't
wing
really
it.
they wing it every single day and they don't really have that standard. What's some of the rules or what are some of the things that you feel like that you have that without it that you wouldn't be as successful as you are, Brad?
So just watching you two talk, right? And I'm almost kind of jealous of it because I don't have a specific partner that I'm dealing with every day, right? You guys come in and talk to each other. So it's kind of this...
Jason might tell you otherwise.
accountability partner, though, right?
It is a little bit, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It totally drives you to, I can't let my partner Jason down.
Right.
I can't not be there because now he's going to think less of me or I'm not pulling my weight inside of this business.
100%.
And so, and Carlos said something earlier too that said, he said, you treat people the way they want to, or you want to be treated.
Right.
And I've switched that, right, to you treat people the way they want to be treated because it's their perception of what's happening in the world around them. We're using this exact same thing. Every person is different. Carlos likes bikes. You like Costa Rica. I like campers. You like boats, right? It's all different for every person. So now I need to learn and figure out what the other person wants and needs so that I can give that to them.
Okay.
So my rules are...
So you're not giving me a bike.
Yeah, I'm not giving you a
That go
bike.
really
I already
well.
know that you don't want a bike.
I'm not giving Carlos.
What are you
a
trying to
cold
tell
plunge.
me, Brad?
Yeah, right. So, but what
You know how I feel about bikes.
I spend a lot of time in trying to learn.
You give him donuts. Sorry.
Yeah, donuts.
Well, that
That kind of works for everybody.
that's what I was going to say. Pretty smart business
So you have
model.
to throw that in there.
You want to learn what people want from you.
Right.
Not what you want to give them, because what you necessarily want to give to somebody else may not be what they want. And so I try and spend a lot of time in different kind of books or different kind of podcasts or different kind of even just TikTok videos, that I'm watching that are uplifting and getting my mind right. Because when I start with my own mind and I get my mindset to where it needs to be, it bleeds out on everybody. They don't even have a choice because I'm a big, loud personality that comes in and will tell you exactly what I think, right? I'm very bold. I'm very in your face about it. This is what I think. If you don't like it, I guess I'll go somewhere else, right? But I'm also in the back of my mind how do I make it so that you and I on a personal level, because all business is relationships.
Right.
Yep.
How do I grow our personal relationship? Because that's what matters. And it goes, that follows in the donuts thing, that follows in the real estate, especially because it's a transaction that people are making that's the biggest transaction of their life most of the time. And most of the time, they're only going to do 2 or 3 of those transactions in their entire life. And so if I'm not the pro in telling them what is happening, then I'm failing them.
Right.
And I got to put it in a perspective that they understand, not the way I understand it.
Right.
So I want to ask questions and teach myself, how can I dig that out of them, what their why is? Because if I can dig that why out of them as a buyer's or a seller's agent now, I am much, much better at helping them figure out what their needs are. And most of the time, it's financially backed because the world revolves around money, right? And people are very worried about where they are. A lot of times they want to be keeping up with the Joneses, but in the reality is it's like you can literally just ask them to their face though, what's your motivation behind this? Why are you selling this house? Why are you buying a house? Well, we're selling the house because all the kids moved out. Okay, so you're looking to downsize. So is this a financial thing too? Like, is this something that you gotta make a bunch of money on because you're looking towards a retirement plan now, or is it just simply for the fact of downsizing? What else is happening in your life that is causing you to want to sell? And if you start digging through stuff, a lot of times you'll find out, well, we're really not happy together either. And unfortunately, as real estate agents, we become marriage counselors and financial planners, and all of the things. Yeah. And so I really focus a lot on my own personal growth and understanding people and understanding their brain types and understanding how then I can then implement myself in their life the way they want me there.
You said that you try to listen to positive things because it bleeds out, and I've done really well with it, and then there's parts of my life where I haven't done really well with that, where I've consumed maybe more of the dead scroll or maybe music I shouldn't, that doesn't just put me in the right mood, the right state of mind. But what I did, you're going to be putting it off. You're going to be putting off, you can call it a vibe, right? You're going to be putting off that vibe no matter what. So it can be a positive vibe, it can be a negative vibe. And so I do think that, the old thing, like what you watch or what you listen to or what you're reading and those things, those are going to mimic of what it is, everything that you're putting off. And so I do think that that's, important, especially when you're working with people, especially when you're working with your spouse, especially when you have a close friend that you're working with. And that's something that I've learned is sometimes it's hard. Like, you can't fake that vibe. Like, if you're doing the things you shouldn't, we've heard it a lot. A lot of people have been saying this last year, but whatever you do in private, it's going to come, it's going to come out. Whatever you're listening to, whatever you're watching, and those things, I think it's very important that you take care of that atmosphere, I guess, that you're in yourself, because that's what's
one thing that Coach Gonzalez said, right? He said, you are who you are. And if you have to be a different person, you're never going to be happy because you're not being true to yourself in one of those situations, right? And so you've got to be that throughout. And so you've got to make that constant in your life. And hopefully that's a good version of you, right? Hopefully that's what you are striving for and always trying to improve. Yeah, because if you're a jerk, that would suck.
Eventually it's going to bleed out, right?
It will. I mean, then you're going to burn everything around you, right? And so versus growing and having that abundance mentality that you talked about at the beginning of just growing that, growing it up and having those relationships that you truly cherish and that you love and that you enjoy being with. And it's just a totally different mindset. I love the idea of trying to figure out what other people want and need. I like that a lot.
And going to the abundance, abundance mindset thing, you can grow that too. Like I didn't have it at first, but when I went through the group real estate with Zach Martin, and Zach taught us about ninja selling and how to train your brain to then seek that out. I only had to do that for maybe 6 months, and it literally changed my entire outlook from the inside. And now I almost can't turn it off because it's just second nature to me anymore. And so I don't have to do the daily affirmations where I say, I enjoy earning X, Y, and Z. But if you're just starting, and this might be for other agents, right? Like if you're just starting into something like real estate, you have to change your mindset. Because if you're the Debbie Downer in the relationship with the buyers and sellers, it's not going to work out well for you.
No.
And that's where going to a routine and having a good routine in the mornings or whenever it is that you start to do it, whether that's with your health or with your mind or with whatever else, that's how you get from point A to point B and reprogram yourself with daily affirmations, with saying what you're thankful for, and literally just reaching into that, what do they call it, the RAS, the reticular activating system in your brain, that when you're looking for a specific vehicle that you love, whether it's a Porsche or a BMW, right? If you're looking for a Porsche, as soon as you start to see every 911 Porsche that's driving, you will naturally pick it up without even thinking about it, because there it is, right? So it's the same concept. So sorry, I didn't mean
No, you're good. I was actually going to go on something that I don't know who said it, but you say it all the time. What you focus on expands.
Yeah.
And
It's in
It's a
ninja
bold
selling.
law.
yeah, so I wasn't, but
I love that saying.
I apply it for both things. Whenever I'm being negative, like I seriously, you come to mind and I go like, not in a bad way, but I'm like, well, you focus on expense. It's like, stop being negative, because if you're just dwelling on the negative, it's just going to get bigger.
Right.
So let's just shift that and go to positive and,
Starts
and
inside
just
of
start
you.
focusing on those things. So then again, if you repeat those processes every morning, you're focusing on that, it'll expand, it'll go there. And just going to the little things, I was talking with one of my team members, and he was sharing with me that he was kind of feeling sometimes, like everybody just kind of feels down, right? We all kind of go down the rabbit hole or something like that, looking at content that it's not positive or things like that. And I'm just like, just start with the simple things. And he was telling me what's like, once I get going, cleaning my house or doing this, then it's gone. It's like, so you just got to pick up one thing, and that one thing positive leads into the next, and it snowballs. It works the same way with the bad things. If you pick one bad thing and then go to the next, and it snowballs, and you go to the bad one. So you just got to pick the right thing.
Yeah.
Just like picking your heart. Everything's hard, but pick
Like
your
you
heart.
can't be in a bad mood and have gratitude.
It's really hard.
Right.
But
Yeah.
we're all in a bad mood every once in a while.
Right.
Gosh, I can
We
be
are.
the biggest grump person in the world sometimes. And it's just like, I'll just try to stay away from people that day,
Well, I was just
try to
thinking
find something to.
as well. You said that you were kind of talked about our partnership or whatever, but at the same time, we're all a part of teams, right? Whether, and a lot of different teams. I mean, we have family, we have maybe church, maybe different things that we're a part of, and we associate with different people.
This team.
This team here, right?
100%.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, are we contributing and being a positive influence on that team or negative? And
Being a seller and anchor, right?
Exactly. And if we go into that with that mindset, then it's only going to help us be better people, and then we can help rise everybody up, right?
Yeah.
Well, and that's where when you're a part of a team, we have Jason and I have been talking about it a lot lately. Is there sometimes there's agents on your team or team members and that come in and their arms are crossed and they don't have a good look on their face and they're not happy, and then they're wondering why they're not receiving or getting anything out of things, right? And they're not open to it, and they're not participating, and it's not creating that two-way street. And so we talk about, are you a sail or an anchor? Are you somebody that, you and I together, we're going to be able to go far? Or are you an anchor that's going to, pull me down or pull the team down?
Yeah.
And so, man, I've had some hires in the past and a while ago, and it hasn't been, for a while, but I learned that a positive person can't make a negative person positive. But a negative person can make a positive person negative real damn quick. And so you got to be super, super careful thinking, I really like this person, a little negative, but I'm going to change his life and he's going to be happy. Because that person is going to be the worm in the apple.
That's why I looked at you.
I know, it's like,
What's going on over here?
But that negative person is going to be the worm in the apple that's going to make me, make me negative. And so we've seen that a lot and experienced that a lot, of where you want to be the success story of where you change somebody's life. But oftentimes you got to be really careful of how much weight you're putting onto your ship. If they're, Ben Kinney says it best, like, don't show up to my potluck only bringing a fork. And so we have that so often in our business. So, one of the things we're also doing a lot is recruiting and trying to bring on new agents. And a lot of the agents that we have been talking to are just new to the industry. So if you were to give a new agent advice, what advice would you give them, Brad? If somebody was just barely getting into the business.
Get up and grind every day, because your sphere of influence is only going to take you for 6 months to a year. The people around you, your grandma, your mom, your aunt, your relatives and friends, you're only going to make X amount of sales from the time you start till the time that starts to dry up, and those people now have all bought new houses, and so now you got to wait for another 6 months to a year before somebody else makes a decision to do something. So you need to start your grind immediately, as opposed to waiting for those things to dry up and then try and lead gen or try and find the other people. So if I'm talking to a brand new agent that's never touched real estate before,
Sure.
start learning the lead gen side of things and getting your face and name out there as fast as possible, because otherwise you're not going to make it long term. And it was Steve Taggart, in the real estate attorney or law class. I remember him saying when I was getting my license, there's only going to be 2 or 3 of you that make it past 2 years.
Yeah.
It was me. So that's,
Are you the only one?
That's fun. There's
only
one
one left?
other. So Amber
Okay.
Beck
Okay.
is the one that was
Right
in
on.
my class too. And she's moved to Mackey and does some real estate out there. And it was like 40 people in that class.
Wow.
And they all are gone. Like nobody's there anymore. And that's because nobody gets up and grinds it out immediately. They're like, oh, I'm getting my license because I could sell my personal home and make $30,000. Or I can sell my mom's house and I'm going to make 3% on the 300,000, so I make $9,000. But when people look at that and they're only making $30,000 to $40,000 a year anyway, and they make one check for $9,000, they're like, "Whoo, that's so much money, right? I made all this money," and then they do it 2 or 3 times back to back to back. So maybe you make, and that's what happened to me was when I first came out of being a delivery driver. I sold houses back to back to back to back, and then it dried up. But then I was like,
Yeah.
oh, now what? And so then that's when I started researching other things, looking, and there's a lot of caveats to real estate where, you can be a buyer's agent, you can be a listing agent, you can get into title, you can there's so many different things you can do in real estate. I started to gravitate towards construction because that was my background and what I knew. Yeah. And that's actually how Carlos and I met. Was I became the CEO of Copper Creek Homes because I went and started sitting inside of their model house, selling it. The owner figured out that I had a really big construction background and literally looked me in the face and said, when can you come on board on a bigger level? I need you to run this place.
Wow.
And I was doing my affirmations. I enjoy earning $120,000 a year. So he's like, what do you need to come on and be that? And of course, I spit out $120,000 because a year and a half before that, or 18 months before that, I was only making 36.
Yeah.
Right.
So 120 was a huge number for me.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and he didn't even hesitate. Yep. Spit his hand and we shook hands and I was off and running. And then I was helping people build houses and we were selling them. And that's how Carlos and I met. Was he had a client, Thomas?
No,
Steels.
it was Steels. Yeah.
Anyway, they come and love the house, and we built the house for them. And so then me and Carlos were dealing with each other for months, right? Like built throughout an entire
And different brokerages at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And we weren't even in the same brokerage. But anyway, I don't know where I was going with all of that. But that process, if I'm going to tell someone new coming into it, unless you try and make a game plan and grind it out every single day, it probably isn't going to work out. I consider myself very, very lucky to have found something like a Copper Creek Homes where I became an agent for them, then became their CEO. Then when I left as the CEO, started flipping houses, but I'd already built kind of a nest egg to kind of deal with that over time. Whereas, and even now, I don't sell a ton with buyers and sellers necessarily because I have totally changed my business model to I'm building my own listings, right? And so we're going to do all those behind Winco here. I'm going to plug myself for a second.
Yeah.
But there's we're going to start those new townhouses this spring, and there's going to be 56 additional townhouses.
Nice.
So I'm building myself work now until 2029-ish.
Wow.
Right. So it's going to take that long to build them out. And then I got 14 more over by Skyline High School. It's going to take a year and a half to build those out. So I have work now as a realtor for listings for the next 3 years. That's
awesome.
And I'm just building my own. It's not like I have to go out and find those buyers and sellers. Right. But if you're
you got that from hustling.
Right.
You got that from hustling and one opportunity and you put in max effort and then you find another opportunity. and another door opens, and then another door opens,
And
Right,
time
that's-
spent.
yeah,
a
that's
lot
a
of time spent.
Big long
Plus
story to
time
say,
chasing it.
grind.
right.
From day one, if you come out and you are grinding every single day, you'll make it.
A lot more opportunity comes from grinding every day than not.
Yeah, 100%.
That's all there is to it.
Carlos, what would you say? What's some advice, and we'll wrap it up with you. What advice would you give?
As we said, show up, grind, hustle, however you want to call it, right? But you got to be consistent. If you're looking for it every day, eventually it's going to come to you.
Sure.
If you're just sitting there waiting for it to come, it's not going to show up. So you got to be looking for it every day. Surround yourself with good people, whether it's a team, whether it's a mentor, whatever it is. Brad just mentioned that that's how we met. We were in different brokerages, right? But at that point, I was like, okay, there's something about this guy. I like his style. Tell me a little bit more about where you at, who you working with. So then I met Zach, and then I dealt with Kathy Carroll, who was actually working at the same brokerage. And I was like, I like how these guys operate. I like the culture. So I'm going to go talk to them. And then I ended up over there.
Sure.
And that made a difference. I was at a different brokerage at the time. Don't need to bring up the name, but it made such a difference.
Just kidding.
Anyways,
I'm just
but just put me in the spot. But no, it made such a difference because I was just getting back into the business from not being in real estate since 2007, 8 at that point. The business had changed so much. It was 2017. All of a sudden, Zillow was in the picture, which wasn't before. There was all this other, business was handled completely different. And those 10 years, it already changed so much, and it's changed so much now. But surround myself with the right culture, with the right people, learn new things again, and just, talk to people, be social. There's no one way to do this, right?
Yeah.
You can buy leads, you can knock doors, you can call, you can do podcasts, you can, you name it. You could dance on social media if you want to. I don't care what you do. Do whatever works
Nick
for you.
Jack-Chan does a good job of that.
He's great. I wish I had, I give him props for that but it's not my style. I'm not going to do it. But it really works for him. And he should keep going with it, right?
Yeah.
He's killing it. He's so good at it. Find what works for you. Whatever that is, just keep going. And if you don't know what is that works for you, look for people that are doing something that you like and try to mimic that. You don't have to rediscover anything. You can just copy something you can repurpose it or reshape it to what you want, right? But be consistent about it. And I think that then you'll eventually have success. And you're going to have up and downs. And we all know here that in real estate, everybody says this, but I have to repeat it. The highs are really high in real estate. The lows are really low. It's just, and if you're not consistent, you have these valleys, peaks and valleys. You're consistent, you'll see there. But if you stop working while you're right here, then you're going to have this drop over here, right? Yeah. And then you go and grind again. And so
one thing, Carlos, if you had a superpower, I would say that you are very, you're very confident, but you have this act of knack of yourself that you like to learn, and you're very open-minded. And like talking to you, and you're never like pigeonholed in one way of thinking. You'll ask, you'll always come from curiosity. And I think that's something that I've learned from you, that I'm like, huh, like he doesn't come off as that he knows it all. You know a lot and you have a ton of knowledge, but you don't come off that way, that you're always coming from a place of learning and that. And I think that's pretty awesome.
I know that I don't know a lot of things, and you just brought Nick Jack-Chan, right? He's a newer agent than me, but he's found something and he's killing it at it. And so then you can take something from that and learn. And it's an agent that hasn't been around for that long, right? So you're not always going to learn from somebody who is senior than you. You could always learn from anybody. Sure.
And he is,
from your kids.
And I've been around as far as real estate more than him. And I would say that people who do not know me probably know of him and who he is more than they would know who I am, because he puts himself out there and he makes entertaining things that pertain to real estate and to his business.
Adds value.
So kudos to Nick. That's pretty awesome. Well, Jason, why don't you, we're wrapping up. So Any closing thoughts, arguments?
I don't know. I love it. I think it's been awesome having you guys on. I appreciate you guys. I really appreciate you guys' friendship.
Yeah.
And look up to you guys in your business and your family lives and the way you go about things. And appreciate you guys being here for us. Yeah.
And tagging on to what I said before and what Jason said, we took that trip, to Costa Rica. And what's funny is Jason and I were going down, and I wanted it to be a fun trip. And I was like, let's take some other agents down. And you guys are the dumb ones that said yes. and I told Jason, I'm like, I've never met him before. And so the first time you and I talked really was in the airport.
Yeah.
And in the first conversations we really had, like a real conversation, was probably in the airport. And it's really cool of what that trip did. And I came home like fulfilled. I told my wife, I was like, man, it was awesome, to get people there and feel like you've known each other for a lot longer. And I appreciate your guys' friendships, and thanks for coming on.
Same.
Thanks for putting that together, and thanks for having us.
Yeah, let's do it again.
Yeah.
You got it.